Aha, it's recording. Okay, good. All right, so welcome to bonus class number 4. We've had a getting started class and 3 classes already. So this one we're going to be focusing on equity, but I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction to the CFA program for anyone who hasn't looked at it for a while or is not that familiar with it yet. So benefits of earning the CFA charter, you can see on the left hand side here, you've got 5 main benefits. So real world expertise, which you get because you are studying from a program that has been updated. It's updated every year and it's based on surveys that CFA Institute does with industry practitioners and professionals in the area. So it's really up to date. It gives you the knowledge that you need for working in the financial markets as they are now. You also get career recognition through the credibility that you get as a result of passing these exams, which are not easy, but very highly respected. You get an ethical grounding as well, because each of the exams, each of the 3 exams has about 15% of content which is based on ethics, global community, so there are around 135,000, actually more now, CFA charter holders around the world, and you can join events in different countries if you want to. So I'm currently in England, and I will be going to a networking event in London in early January with the CFA Society of the UK, even though I'm a member of the CFA Society in Brazil. Employer demand, so some of the biggest banks around the world are also the biggest employers of CFA charter holders, and you can see a list here, so JP Morgan, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, etc. Also in Brazil, the biggest employer of CFA charter holders in Brazil is Itaú. So what will you learn? You've got levels 1, 2 and 3. Level 1 focuses on investment tools, level 2 on asset valuation, and level 3 on portfolio management. That's bringing everything together. And each of the levels contains each of the 10 topic areas. So you can see those listed at the bottom. You've got ethics, quants, economics, financial reporting and analysis. And those, well, ethics is in each exam, but quants, economics and financial reporting and analysis, and corporate finance are all considered to be investment tools that help you analyze investments or help you value investments. And then we've got the asset classes or the investments themselves, which are equity, fixed income, derivatives and alternatives. Within derivatives, we look at options, forwards, futures and swaps. And in alternatives, we look at commodities, real estate, private equity, hedge funds, infrastructure and others. Okay. And then you bring everything together with portfolio management and wealth planning. And you will be, when you get to level 3, advising individual and institutional investors on their portfolios. So what their objectives could be given the level of risk they're willing and able to take, and what kind of constraints there are, for example, in terms of liquidity or the time horizon for investment. So it gets very interesting. Just a few comments on regulatory waivers, not going to spend too much time on it, but basically passing the CFA exams will give you some recognition as a portfolio manager, research analyst or securities consultant within Brazil. So you can get more details, there's some more details here, but also if you go to the website, CFA Institute website, you can actually see waivers for each country around the world. So if you're thinking about moving abroad, you might want to have a look at what kind of regulatory recognition the CFA charter has in the country that you are interested in going to. So the link is there. Okay, in terms of the methodology for preparing for the exams, the SHP courses focus on the most important concepts for the exams. So you can see here the core subjects on the left-hand side. We've got CAPM, capital asset pricing model, yield to maturity, net present value and internal rate of return, elasticity, and LIFO and FIFO, which are last in, first out, and first in, first out. So those are topics, just examples of topics which are very important in different topic areas. So for example, CAPM is equity, return on equity is used to determine the required return on equity. That's obviously going to be in the exam because it's so important. So although we don't really question spot, it is known what the core concepts are in finance that you absolutely must understand. So those are what we focus on in the classroom course. And then home study, and we give you directions on this, covers the more factual learning. And as it says at the bottom, this is on the right-hand side, the non-core subjects. Any individual item is less frequently examined than the core subjects, but the exam will have a significant number of questions from these topics. So in order to be well prepared, you need to have a thorough understanding of the core subjects, which you'll get throughout the course. But you also need to read more widely and have knowledge of the non-core subjects so you can pick up extra marks. So that's the methodology behind the course. And then in terms of the structure of the course, we've got learning, practicing and consolidating. So in total, you will spend around 105 hours in class, okay, or doing practice exams. Around 50 hours, hopefully, doing pre-course reading, which is what these bonus classes are focused on. And then around 200 hours studying at home. So it's quite a big time commitment, and you should be seeing CFA as equivalent to studying a master's. It's going to be at least 900 hours in total, 300 for each of the 3 levels. And sometimes people actually spend significantly more time studying, okay? So it's something you have to take seriously, but it really does pay off in terms of the credibility and the boost you should get to your career. Okay, as well as the international recognition if you want to work abroad or for an internationally focused organisation in Brazil. So teaching, we've got the Getting Started class, which is recorded, so you can check out on YouTube, the SHP channel on YouTube. You can watch the recordings of the previous classes that we've had. So we've had a Getting Started class, and we've also had 3 bonus classes. This is the 4th one. Okay, and these bonus classes cover the pre-course reading. And then we have learning, 21 classes, 21 teaching classes, which start at the end of January. Okay, and it says including success in the exam. So success in the exam, those are classes, additional classes that we offer to do drill practice questions, but also help you with your planning your studies outside the classroom. So that's very important to do, as well as being not just about turning up to class. It's also about preparing and studying at home as well. So practice, we've got the revision phase of the course, also called the Esta Final, and we focus on going over the most important concepts for a second time, for those of you who do the full course and do the learning phase as well. And then doing practice questions and quizzes. And then we have consolidation through practice exams. So we've got 9 hours of exams in total under exam conditions. One is a halfway there exam, which covers half of the content and comes halfway through the learning phase of the course. And the other is a diagnostic exam, which comes just before the revision phase to identify your strengths and weaknesses. And then we have 2 exam debrief classes where we go through the problem areas that students had in the exams. And feel free to interrupt if you have any questions, okay? I'm going to go through the program in a minute in detail, or show you the detail of the class program. But before that, just the study materials. So when you sign up as a student, you get access to the CFA program curriculum books, which are 6 online books. You can also pay a little extra, $150 extra actually, to get hard copy books, which I do actually recommend. Okay, but of course it depends on your own learning style and how you like to read. I think it's quite good to have the hard copy books because you can see more easily how far you've got and how much more you've got to read. You can highlight the online books though as well, and you can go back to highlighted sections quite easily. Okay, you also get access to the CFA learning ecosystem. So this is on the right-hand side as well, and that has practice questions and sample exams. Lots and lots of resources actually provided by CFA Institute. So they're really improving in this area, which means that you do not need to, well, you never really have needed to anyway, but there's even less now of a need to go to another provider of practice questions because they provide lots, CFA Institute directly on the website to candidates, and you don't have to pay anything extra for that. And the last to the December exam, they provided 3 practice exams online, which is really good. Okay, so as part of the course as well, you will get slide packs with around 2,000 slides. Those are the slides that we go through during the classes. You will get a study guide on each topic area, which pulls out, highlights the most important things to focus on when you're reading the curriculum. And then you've got question banks for phases 1 and 2 of the teaching course, a revision question bank, which is very good because it focuses on the tricky areas that people often get wrong. And then halfway there and final practice exams. Okay, so you've got lots of material there. It's all included in the course, and you have definitely got enough to help you to prepare, to be fully prepared for the exam. So a little bit about the structure of the exam. You've got the 2018 topic weights and 2019 topic weights, and this is just to show you how the curriculum has changed. So ethics is still 15%. The most important area by weight is FRA, Financial Reporting and Analysis, level 1. But the weight has actually gone down in 2019, so it's gone down from 20% to 15%. Okay, it's still, as in, it's got the same weighting as ethics now. So it's still a very important part of the paper, but not quite as important as it was before. Quants, 10%, economics, 10%. There's a lot to study for economics for that 10%. Corporate finance has gone up a bit, so 10%, equity, 11, fixed income, 11, both up slightly. Derivatives, alternatives, and portfolio management are now all 6% of the exam. Okay, you can take the exam in June and December each year. So we're preparing people at the moment now for the June exam, June 2019. On the 15th of June, there will be, the exam will take place, 2 3-hour papers. So you've got first exam 9 AM until midday, second exam 2 PM until 5 PM. Each exam has 120 freestanding multiple choice questions, which means if you make a mistake in one, then you're not going to be penalised in another. Each are independent questions, and you have 3 possible answers, which makes it sound as though it might be easy, but it's not. Okay, 1.5 minutes per question. Now, very well written questions, so they don't make it easy for you. All topics are examined in each paper, so all of the 10 topics are examined in each of the 2 papers, and they're all in the same order. So they follow this order here on the left-hand side: ethics, quants, economics, FRA, which is the same order as the CFA curriculum readings. Many of the questions are not numerical, and actually you will maybe be surprised that how they're testing the questions. They're really testing your conceptual awareness. So they might test a formula, but not ask you to do a calculation. So you might need to know what the formula is in order to answer the question, but you might not have to actually do a calculation. And you need to, well, for the pass marks actually, so it's not published the exact percentage you need to get in order to pass the exam. Okay, we estimate it's around 70%, so that's what you should be aiming for in the practice exams, okay, when you are exam ready. And the 10-year average global pass rate is around 40%. Okay, so that means about 40% of people pass. Now that's quite low because there are lots of people, I would say, who underestimate how hard this exam is and don't study enough, don't plan enough, don't take it seriously enough. So it's something that many people benefit from having support with. Okay, and like I said before, is equivalent to doing a master's degree. So it's really something to focus on. And I mean, again, it really is worth it, but it's not easy. However, it is possible. In terms of the structure of the curriculum, you have 58 readings to get through, okay, split into the 6 volumes of books that I mentioned. So you get the online books, or you can order printed books from CFA Institute. Ethics and Professional Standards and Quants is the first one, then Economics, Financial Reporting Analysis, Corporate Finance, Portfolio Management, Equity and Fixed Income, Derivatives and Alternatives. And at the beginning of each of those 58 readings, you have learning outcome statements, which are what you need to be able to master in order to pass the exam. So every single question in the exam is based on one or more learning outcome statements. So if you are confident that you understand those learning outcome statements, for example, you are able to analyze something, to calculate something, to describe something, then you should be able to answer all of the questions, theoretically, that they give you. Okay, you will not get any questions which are not covered by the learning outcome statements. So those are really critical to help you focus your reading, focus your studies. And at the back of each of the 58 readings are practice questions. So that's for you to make sure that you've understood the concepts, okay? And it's really critical that you do those practice questions. And I recommend that students mark the practice questions you get wrong, so you can come back to them and check you're getting them right in the future. And just looking at these bonus classes that we started, so we're here on the 14th of December. Introduction to Equity. Okay, you can see the classes we've had already, and then all of the recordings of the previous classes are available on YouTube. We've got one more class left on the 11th of January. And then this is the class program for the preparation course. So you can see classes are on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evenings. They start on the 29th of January with success in the exam. And the first block is the teaching phase 1. Then there's a halfway there practice exam and feedback on that. And then we've got the second block, which is teaching phase 2. And then towards the bottom, we've got the SHP Financial or the revision course. And that starts with a practice exam. Okay, which will be on the 27th of April. Down here. Oops, it's a bit thick, that line. Okay, so down here, practice exam. And the practice exams are on Saturdays. There are just 2 Saturdays. So you've got the first one on the 12th of March and the next one on the 27th of April. And then after we give you an individual results report as well as doing the feedback class. So we will help you to identify your strengths and weaknesses. And then we focus on the most important concepts in each of the topic areas and lots of practice questions to get you exam ready. And the course finishes on the 25th, sorry, I think it's actually the 28th because of some bank holidays and feriados. So it finishes towards the end of May, and then you have a couple of weeks to do practice exams just to get yourself totally exam ready by the 15th of June. So moving on now to the pre-course reading. This is really important to do if you can, because it will make your life easier once the course starts. Okay, and it's the more factual reading that is set at home study mostly. We will have a little quiz or test at the beginning of the first class, so come prepared. Okay. And we're down here on class 4, 14th of December, which is covering the 2 study sessions on equity. And just to show you how this works, we've got the study session, okay, and there are 19 study sessions. You've got the reading number, and remember there are readings 1 to 58. Only some of those are set as home study, which is why you do not have continuity in the numbering here. The importance of the reading, the title of the reading, suggested total number of hours of study, and then suggested number of hours for pre-course reading, and then the bonus class that reading is covered in. Hopefully that's clear. And when you sign up for the course, we will send you a study plan, which has a list of all of the readings you have to do, together with the importance level and total number of hours we suggest you spend on those readings, and a getting started guide, which also has more guidance on how to do the pre-course reading. Okay, now the pre-course reading, we recommend an absolute minimum of 25 hours on it, but you can spend 25 to 50 hours. The important thing really is to get through all of it and not spend hours and hours just on one reading, because it's better for you to get the coverage at the moment rather than the depth in just one reading. This is an exam where you have to have a wide base of knowledge as well as the depth. If you get stuck on one thing, you are not going to be able to get the coverage you need. Okay, so how do we suggest you approach the readings? So first, in order to get access to the CFA curriculum, you need to be enrolled as a student. So you need to sign up for the exam. Then you will get the latest curriculum, which is for June 2019, with the 58 readings. You need to have a look at the learning outcome statement at the beginning of each of the pre-course readings. And it's an example here of learning outcome statements. And work through the reading, focusing on achieving the learning outcome statements. So you probably won't need to read everything. You need to focus on those learning outcome statements and then answer the questions at the end of the reading. And we recommend within 24 hours, if not sooner, because it's very easy to forget what you've read. So try to do the practice questions as quickly as possible so that you can consolidate, practice applying what you've read. And then mark the questions you got wrong so you can go back to them later. It's surprising, we might think we've learned something, but we find we make the same mistakes again. So in order to avoid doing that and to reinforce the correct answers, go back and make sure you're getting the questions right. So equity, study sessions 14 and 15. This summary includes all of the readings, okay? Only some of them are highlighted here for pre-course reading. In the course, we have a 1 times 3 hour class. So we've got one class of 3 hours during the course. And then we have exam debriefs that cover equity as part of the practice exams that you will do, plus a revision class which covers equity as well. And in the class, we focus mostly on equity valuation, which is really critical for the exam. In terms of the study sessions, you've got study session 14, which focuses on securities markets. Okay, so where we trade equities. And we've got market organization and structure, which is a really good introductory reading. We've allocated 2 hours of pre-course reading to this, which means you should have a look at the learning outcome statements, have a look what's in that reading, flick through the main sections. If you're already familiar with securities markets, you are not going to need to spend very long on this. If it's an area that's new to you, you should spend longer. Try to focus on the learning outcome statements and do the practice questions at the end. Now, you could spend 4 hours on that. We do not recommend you spend more time on it, otherwise you will never get through the readings. Okay. Security market indices, so that is something that we cover in the classroom because some of the security market calculations, the return of the index, is something that it's core, it's important, and also sometimes it's a little bit confusing. So we go through that in class. Market efficiency, we cover a little bit in class, but it's also set as pre-course reading because it's fairly self-explanatory. So have a look at that reading as pre-course reading. 2 hours we have recommended to spend on it. Okay, but you can spend up to 3 on it if you want to. And then overview of equity securities. This is a low importance reading, okay, but there are some factual areas in it that are important for you to cover, such as the characteristics of preference shares. And so we've allocated 1 hour of pre-course reading to this. And then this reading here, Introduction to Industry and Company Analysis, covers Porter's 5 forces and pest analysis, which, depending on your degree background, you might have come across before. This is something that we don't talk about in class. Okay, so you do need to cover this as part of your pre-course reading, definitely. 2 hours allocated, spend up to 4. And then equity valuation, as I mentioned before, how to value shares, how to value an equity position in a company. That is critical, very high actually, and that's covered in class. This is an extract from the Getting Started guide. Okay, so in the Getting Started guide, you see some guidance relating to each of the topic areas. Okay, so that's a really good thing to look at to get you started. So study sessions 13 and 14 cover equity investments. Reading 44 to 46 make up study session 14 on securities markets and are very discursive in nature with few calculations. So they're explaining how the equity markets work. Reading 44 has a good introductory section, which will be great if you're new to the industry. There is a section on margin trades, which we cover in class, okay, because that's something you're likely to get a question on. Trading on margin, when you borrow money from a dealer in order to take out a bigger position in equity. And you are leveraging your position as a result. Reading 47 is an excellent introduction to how various types of shares work. So although it's low importance for the exam, it's assumed knowledge really that you understand what a share is and what a preference share is and what an ordinary share is. So you need to look at that if you're new to that area. Reading 48 covers strategy, including methods such as PEST and Porter's 5 forces, political, economic, social and technological factors, that is, which affect companies. That section is not very technical, it's left for home study, so really it's going to be a good thing for you to focus on that because we will not cover it in the course. And you do not need any any knowledge beforehand in order to read that reading. Okay, equity valuation is in study session 15, reading 49, and there is a lot of examinable material in this. So we cover that in class. It also builds on the quantitative methods in study session 2. So you need to be comfortable with quants before you focus on the equity valuation. Okay. So in summary, readings 44, 47, 48 are useful readings for setting the scene, especially if you don't work in the area. We strongly recommend that you look at these readings before the course starts. So, a bit abrupt. We've moved into the course, but let's look at the benefits of the course. So, resource planning. So we will help you plan your studies. We've got a study guide as well as a getting started plan to help you plan your studies from now until when the course starts on the 29th of January. Okay. Once the course starts, we send weekly exam countdown emails reminding you how long you've got until the exam starts, until the exam will take place, and what you should be focusing on each week. Discipline. So we ask you to read the material that's going to be covered in each class before the class, okay, and we really want you to be joining all of the classes. We do have recordings that are available if you have to miss a class. The recordings are available for 1 week, okay, but it's really important to keep up with the classes. Focus. We focus in the course on the most important concepts in the curriculum, so you will understand the most important concepts if you come to class. And we will help you make links between different topics in the syllabus. So, for example, for quants, quants comes up in fixed income, also in equity valuation. So it's really important to have a good grounding in quants in order to help you with asset valuation. Okay. Practice. Okay, so we do lots of practice questions in class, okay, as well as giving you guidance on the practice questions to do at home. And then we help you review your performance through practice exams. Okay, giving you reports on where you went wrong, what your weaker areas are, and where your strengths are, so that you can improve. And just in terms of pricing and deadlines, so we have experienced, highly qualified and trained tutors, all who have passed the exams that they teach. We have small classes with around 10 students, which means you get lots of individual attention. We've got flexibility in terms of the classes being in the classroom, live online and recorded, recordings available for 1 week. We're on Avenida Paulista, next to Consular metro station, so a really good location. Okay, there is parking as well under the building. And then we offer excellent value for money. All material is included as well as the classes being full. Okay, and there's some contact details here if you want to contact us to find out more information. And we have fee deadlines, just like CFA Institute has fee deadlines. So the next one is 21st of December, next Friday. Okay. So if you book by then, you will pay a lower price. Okay. any bookings after that until the deadline of 22nd of January, the deadline for closing and reservations, are at a slightly higher price, okay? And you can pay by PayPal or you can pay upfront with a discount. So PayPal, just an example, 3, 6 or 10, 12, sorry, 12 installments. Okay, and Anna, our consultant, will speak to you in more detail about the pricing and about your registration. Okay, and she can be contacted. Contact details here. Okay, so next time we will be covering, just actually before we finish, got a couple more minutes there. These are examples of the learning outcome statements for each of the equity readings. So you will see these when you go into reading 44, market organisation and structure, you will see what you need to know. So you should be able to explain the main functions of the financial system, which is basically allocating resources to their best uses, creating an equilibrium rate of interest for the equilibrium between borrowers and lenders, some other functions as well, for example, managing risk, classifications of assets and markets, major types of securities, currencies, etc. And we've got quite a few, okay? So security market indices here. This one we cover partly in class, but it's also set as home study reading. Market efficiency. How do we make returns in the market? Well, usually we're trading on information, so we're assuming the market is not perfectly efficient, and that we know something, or we are able to analyze an investment, and we know it's worth more than the market says it's worth, so then we will invest in it. Overview of equity securities. So this is a factual one about the different types of equity securities, how they work, what their characteristics are. Industry and company analysis. So this one is completely home study. Okay, it's discursive. There's nothing too technical in this. There's nothing too difficult to understand. And then equity valuation. This is the main focus of the classes. Although we also cover security market index calculations and margin trades. Yes, this one. Leverage ratio, rate of return on a margin transaction, the security price at which the investor would receive a margin call. So that is covered in the classroom. Okay. And then next time we will look at derivatives and alternatives. So we have got time for some questions if there are any. Any questions? Aniel? Okay, all right, good. Well, hopefully it was comprehensive enough. I gave you an overview of the program and the benefits, and we talked about the content, we talked about the different levels, we talked about the exam itself, we talked about pre-course reading, methodology of the course, focused in on equity, okay, and the 2 study sessions that are on equity in the curriculum. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay, and this recording will be available on YouTube. Now I'm going to need to Oh, you do have a question. And you can unmute your microphone if you want to. Yeah, so if you have an old curriculum, it's changed a lot. So you need to get the new one. You need to sign up for the exam, the next exam, to get the new curriculum. Otherwise, you will find you are reading things which are no longer in the curriculum, or you don't have things that are now in the curriculum. So really need to make your mind up about whether you want to go ahead with the exam in June to sign up and start preparing using the new curriculum.
Hi, Susanna, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I noticed that if I subscribe as a student, I am subscribed as well for the exam. Is that it, or am I confused?
No, so you have to sign up separately with CFA Institute.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
So
that was.
Yeah, there are two sign-up.
How do I get the curriculum? You said that if I sign up with you guys, I would get the curriculum, but in order to get the curriculum, I need to sign up with CFA Institute. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
Okay.
So, look, it's provided by CFA Institute. So CFA program curriculum and the learning ecosystem are provided by CFA Institute. So when you sign up for the exam, you get access to those.
Okay.
And the other resources are provided by us. Okay.
Great.
All right. I'm going to need to close this to stop the recording.
Okay.
So you can.
We talk another time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Thanks for joining. Okay. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.